So certainly we've had quite a few great sessions. This is our last day, and there are a couple other sessions today. So if you guys do have the time and are interested, there are some more sessions that you can certainly join. But today we'll be walking through SONICUE. There'll be some updates here in the near future, and we have Christian Gluck, who has joined us here to talk with us a little bit more about that and give a live demo. But my name's Rob Ferguson. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the marketing manager here for Electrovoice and Dynacord for our professional and commercial systems. So that's everything from EVIDs up to our line arrays and all of our Dynacord electronics. So I'll be your host today. And joining us is Christian Gluck, who's our senior global product manager for Dynacord electronics and software. And Christian, how long have you been with us?
I think more than 20 years.
Yeah,
I
Christian's been with
joined
us
the
for quite a while.
facility in Straubing in the last millennium. So you can do the math.
So I'm over here in our Burnsville location here, kind of our headquarters for the EV side of things, and then Christian's over in Straubing, so over in Germany here. So doing a little virtual thing here. This works out since we can't be in the same room, but Christian will be taking us through SONICUE Live. We certainly have some updates. Many of you are probably familiar with SONICUE, so I'm going to pass it right over to Christian so he can walk us through some live examples here and to talk about what's going to be new.
Okay, so let me see. I'm just waiting that I can share my screen. Yep, it's there, and you should be seeing, hopefully soon, my wonderful screen.
Yeah, it's just taking a minute. So while Christian gets this loaded, feel free to use the chat function as well as we go through. Christian is able to obviously take some questions live, so feel free to let us know. But looks like we can see it now, Christian, if you want to kick it off.
Okay, cool. Good. So SONICUE 1.2.2. So the next update, try to make it sweet and fast. So focusing on things that are really new, fresh, and kind of exciting. Something that's, let's start with the last release because not everybody fully got it. When you actually install your SONICUE, and you'll find these wonderful folders, with, see, I have release already 1.2.2. There's actually more than just one app. So basically there is, when we talk about SONICUE, usually we talk about what's called the SONICUE app. That's the app where you actually create the system, you configure, you also build control panels. This is something, let me if open the 1.2, yeah. And these panels, that the control panels that you can design in SONICUE can be used on what used to be called SONICUE Panel Viewer. We decided to change the name. Technically, it still is a panel viewer, but we changed the name to SONICUE Control. And SONICUE Control, of course, I have this on my Windows PC. So that is not really, that's just a new name for a Windows device. And SONICUE Control is also basically the app that runs on the touch panel, TPC1, natively. What will be new, and I will show you in a minute, in 1.2.2, is that the SONICUE Control app, you will see this within the next couple of weeks in the Apple Store for iOS devices, iPads, iPhones. So control panels that you create in SONICUE can also run there. What also comes with 1.2.2, not spending a lot of time here, is a support tool for the TPC1. So for firmware updates, image updates, checking diagnostics, whatever, just something that people ask us for, and we'll include it in this one. Okay, so now let's jump right into it. I have prepared an MXE5 here, which, to make it real, let's go online first, that you see that what I'm doing is really live and not just fake, So yes, I'm online with my device. And just to show you what I have here, I have prepared a few panels. And maybe a quick comment here. when you are in a video conference, the PC is slowing down dramatically. So this is something that I've learned. So I have to slow down my pace, and Rob needs to give me some extra time because I can do things much slower. Not because I'm so slow, but so I hope that's big enough. So what I have prepared here, and you see it's already running, is a panel to control 3 zones of the sound system. And access my guys, WebEx is so. And what you might know is that on the tab preview, you actually don't need to access and walk physically to each and every touch panel. You can already check them out here. So this is one that controls 3 zones. See if it's working. A little bit slow. So a zone for the lobby, a zone for the restaurant, and of course, this is where we all want to be, the zone for the pool. So far, so good. So I can put this, if I go to my online mapping, right now, this control panel is virtual. So it's not really happening. I'm not connected to anywhere. On the online mapping, I can search. And what the online mapping already does is it already identifies devices that are on the network that can be used for this control panel. And what you see here is there's a couple of or 3 TPC1s. And here is my magic iPad. Okay, so basically, I received already questions from people that looked at their beta test stuff, and yeah, there is nothing really different. The only thing is what you need to have is you need to have an iPad in the same network that runs the SONICUE Control app, and as soon as this is active on the iPad, it will show up like any TPC1 will show up. You select the device that you want, and you press the online button. If nothing on it, you say reading or writing, and you just transfer the content of your panel to your device. And that is really nothing. And this the same what I've done here with the TPC1. When I'm writing this content, I could do the same again and just move it on an iPad. And to show you that this is just true, I can let me search this one. Here is my iPad. Okay, I go online, and I'm just writing this panel to my iPad, which I just happen to have here. And now comes the fun part, because in order that you see the iPad that I have in my hand, let me stop sharing for a second, because then you should get my picture bigger. And Rob, please tell me, is this big enough? You see, I have that control panel here. So that's my preferred pool area. This is a slightly different design where I have a pool master and everything. And now I control the system from my iPad. One difference on the iOS app versus the TPC1, on the touch panel controller, you have one control panel. It can have multiple pages, but it's one control panel, where on the iPad, you can have multiples. So there is a setting button, and you can have multiple control panels, some of them with pin, some of them without pin, if there are different user levels that should control something on the system. Okay, so that's the part as far as what could be done. Now, looking at from a design, we also have, this is the next point in SONICUE want to do, made a lot of enhancements to the panel designer itself. So the the stuff what you can already do for the design. Now, to let you know, these graphical assets, everything that you see here, this is already possible with the previous version 1.2, because we already have the ability to upload pictures, to scale them. Not sure if the resolution through the video gets this, but you can make things to the pixel. And we also have for the elements something like, for example, we have this simple rectangle that you can bring in. But if you look up, if you look up in the color menu.
Hey, Christian, are you
Yeah.
sharing your screen?
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
That
no
was the
problem.
part.
Sorry.
You missed the best part. Let me just get my mouse to, sorry. See, I forgot. The interesting part is that now,
Yeah, we got it.
okay, just let me see what my screen says, because my screen puts me up an auto power off of 30 seconds and I have no idea how to stop that. That will be interesting. Okay, let me just continue and pretending nothing really happens. Okay, so back to this point here. On this panel, so what I try to show you basically is that if you grab, for example, a color, we already have the option to take set a transparency. We have the options to oops, what happened to my picture? I think something collapsed here. Just a second, sorry. That's great. Perfect. So I hope I'm almost back again. For some reason, it decided to move everything on my first screen. Sorry, guys, that was not the plan. Maybe I was too slow or I got timed out by my energy saving rate. I love it. Okay, anyway, so third attempt to show that whenever you bring in elements, you can set transparencies like I did for this rectangle here. And we also have the ability here in the designer to have elements and put them in layering. Yeah, so you can have something on top and make nice looking panels like that. So this is something that we could already do. Now, what's new in 1.2.2 is the way how you can control and how you can build these panels. So to show you just here, let's say let's take another one. Let's take
Hey,
this one
Christian,
to
it looks
review.
like your
Yeah.
screen's frozen on my end. You want to try to reshare this?
Oh, why
Yeah,
is it only working in dress rehearsals and not when?
I know it was fine before.
Yeah, because guys, we tried that. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
So I stopped
Oh,
sharing.
yeah.
Let me share again. Screen, share.
All right, looks good so far. I'll let you know. Thanks, Christian.
So far, so good. Okay, okay, sorry. So let me go back to something has changed. I'm opening now again the panel designer. Do you see something? Or is it still frozen?
No, I see it now.
Okay. Okay, so I opened now the panel that I was using for my iPad, and let's just assume in this case, okay, we have here this wonderful graphic, we have some sound whatsoever, and your customer has a issue with some of the neighbors, and they want a button where they simply can add something like a night button. Okay, night means cutting out all the base of the system or whatsoever. So a way to do is to say, okay, let's open my MXE, my matrix, And Rob, you see it? Because I don't know about the latency, how fast things go or not.
Yeah, I
You
can see
should
it.
see now. Okay, so that's part of my DSP chain here, block diagram. I just have my 5 inputs. And let's now try. Guys, it's not that easy. WebEx is slowing down any movement with the mouse. So I have selected 5 multi-selection of high pass, low pass. Okay. And let's assume I want to create this night button where I'm just cutting out all the bass, like, okay, 160, that's a good point. Now, I can actually take, just pressing the magic control button, I take this activate high pass and drag and drop onto my panel. Sometimes when WebEx is not on, this might work. Let me try this differently. Let me first put a button on. Here I have a button, a little bit small. Okay, I can call this button night. And because you can't read it, set this big. Hopefully now you can see it. Yeah, there's about 2 to 3 seconds latency between me pressing a button and having that visible. So let me try to show this again. So I got the button, you see the little plus. I'm dropping it on it. And this is actually a nice thing. As you see, I'm in design while you see the view meters running, and you also see that this button already, I just dropped it, is active. Okay. So if I change to my preview mode, yeah, I can actually test it. No, I could not change to my this doesn't let me. Okay, so I'm now previewing this panel, and if you watch here, I've used this high pass for all my inputs, and when I press the button, only 3 seconds later, I've deactivated or activated all of those. Now, that way of working works for all of the parameters that you have in the DSP. So as soon as the designer for a panel is open, yeah, and you select the flyout, whether it's a delay or whatever, you see already with the purple marking, these are the values that by drag and drop you can put onto the design space. Okay. Now, what's behind, and this is also something interesting, because what I did is I didn't take a single value, I made a multi-selection of all the high passes. And when I look at this individual button, what's behind it, yeah, and I look at what's the magic, you also see that it's not only the drag and drop, it's also with the multi-selection. What we've added is that in the expression designer, you can have multiple entries. Yeah, so in my case, it's the 5, but it could be 10, 20, whatsoever. It could also be different things that you are managing with one button. It doesn't have to be all the same type. I'm just lazy here. And what's also important, not so much for something like a high pass add-on like here, but we also have type selection for the way of aggregation. So in our example here, where I'm doing a basically activate or not activate of a high pass, I use them equal. But if you're building some control flags that should show when something is not working or whatsoever, you have also the options of using or and, or if it's stuff that deals with levels, you have minimum, maximum levels to aggregate these multiple presets here. Okay, so that was roughly the part dealing with the panel designer and the enhanced functionalities. And as I said, whatever you build, whether you build it for a touch panel, whether you build it for an iOS device, or you build it for an Windows app, yeah, because let me open now my third panel. This is why I prepared it. Something for anything that you want to either reuse in your system or just use it on Windows. Every control panel can be imported and exported. Okay. And if you have, for example, a client that only should not really deal with the system, but only access the system, control the system via a PC, during the installation, you don't install SONICUE. You just install SONICUE Control, yeah, and all they do is open the panels and work with those. Now, talking about import and export, this is something that we also included for the MXE5 in this update. So if you open a workspace for an MXE5, up here under File, you also see the export import functionality. So that's pretty handy if you have multiples. And when you bring the unit back, actually, when you export all the settings. You export the DSP, all the supervision, flag settings, and also the logic. When you import, you can select if you want to have everything or just bits and pieces of that. Okay, so that was it for my part. There is, oh, before I forget, we've also done something for our amplifiers that not only on the matrix and the touch panel controller. So for our amps, we have added the load monitoring was already there, but what we have added is the setting for the load supervision. And actually there's two levels of load supervision. There is what typically you note as the load, which is the full band. That's the signal that the amplifier is actually putting to the speaker. And you can set a minimum to detect shorted or a maximum to detect open. But we also have on each output, we have pilot tones. These pilot tones can be set from 20 Hertz up to 23K. So you can put them very high above of the audible part. You can adjust them in level, and you can use that basically if you have a system that's also used for evoc or whatsoever and has a requirement to be permanently supervised, not only if it's in main use and somebody's playing music, but also if nobody is playing music, but you need to know that the system is perfectly working. You have a pilot tone line supervision here also included. And these values might, of course, if you know the impedance curve of a speaker, if you have a signal in the range of 20, 22K whatsoever, that might be a completely different value that you need to detect open and shorted. And what we have tried so far is already that, for example, on something like an X2, if you got 4 speakers in parallel, we even tested it with more, you will be able to detect the failure of an individual component. That's the resolution that we have in an IPX. So pretty sophisticated system to supervise a system. And as I said, with the pilot tone, that's also working not only when you use the system, but also when the system is not in use, basically standby, idling, and just waiting. Okay, one very last thing, Rob, sorry. If you are on the file and you want to save, open something, you will find a button that calls import from preview. Okay, so 122 has been prepared to be able to import files that are exported from preview. Now, matter of fact is that the SONICUE part with the release of 122 next week can import these files. The next challenging thing for us will be to get preview to a point to export. So this is just still in the test, but as soon as this happens for preview, SONICUE 122 will be able to import these files. With these files, you get your speaker designs, so what speakers you use, your arrays, your subarrays, all that stuff, and also included is array information like delay and level shades. That also is transferred from the preview design file into the SONICUE. On the SONICUE world, you start then connecting to the amps and work from there. Okay, so few minutes longer than I thought, but
No worries,
so
Christian. We had some
in the
technical
meantime,
hangups, so that's
yeah,
okay.
this was, and I can tell you, I've tried this 4 times, and I even tried this today in Teams, but in WebEx, it's a different world.
No worries, Christian. It's to keep you on your toes. So,
Ah,
got a couple questions here for you with the time we have left. Feel free to type any questions you guys have in the chat. If we do run out of time, we'll make sure we email you, make sure we answer your question. So, the first one I got here for you, Christian, is when will the SONICUE version 1.22 be available on the website?
okay, so we'll release 99.9% because everything looks good so far. Will be next week. I expected to see it on the website Thursday, maybe Friday, something like that. The tricky part is the iOS app because this is now it's with Apple. Yeah, it's sitting there, and I was told it could be a week, it could be 2. If it's bad, it can be 3 and 4 weeks. So that part we don't know. We will inform everybody as soon as we see it in the store. Yeah, but yeah. So here we hope end of next week. Yeah, we have the package together.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll definitely communicate about that and push a marketing memo. So it is a big deal. Another question, pretty good question I got here is how does SONICUE Control cope with different iPad resolutions? Does it stretch to fit, or will things look different depending on the iPad resolution?
No, actually, what you have see, it was a little bit hard to see whatsoever. The panel that I showed you, okay, I created originally for a TPC1, okay, and I was just moving it, so it's basically adjusting. It's even if the ratio isn't perfect, it's automatically adjusting as much as it can. You might have a few like stripes on either side, yeah, but you do, and this is the important thing, you do not have to build for each and every device something completely fresh. Okay, so I play with this now for quite some time, and I can tell you that I'm basically reusing everything that I've made for TPC1. Yeah, I use these as well for the iPads without even considering that this is a different resolution or whatsoever. I'm just pushing it over. And also something to mention, don't try to make a control panel with the native resolution of an iPad, because you will end up having to scroll to expand to increase the size of all your faders and control elements so much for no benefit. Okay, so the understanding really is even the pictures. I tried it with native resolution on the pictures and found out that, hey, if I reduce them by factor 3, they still look great, but it's less data and much more convenient, and I can reuse these designs, and not only have something exclusive for an iPad. Yeah. So you can be more lazy than and recycle stuff.
Sure, sounds pretty easy. Last question I think we have time here for is will you offer other configurations or a free config DSP block in the future?
Yeah, so one of our big chunks, because when the MXE5 was launched, or put it this way, when the MXE5 was developed, it was developed from the get-go to be a free config DSP, like from the NetMax. Okay, that was always the goal, always the case. We had some reasons to believe that we would be faster if we agree on what we call semi-fixed architecture to start with, to have the product sooner in the market, yeah, and make in the next release. So currently, one of the next big things we are working on with the group here is to get this DSP structure in a modular way, yeah. So right now, when you bring in an MXE5, there is no really big, there's no operation mode. It is MXE5. That's it. Yeah. But going forward, you will then at one point have basically the option to use the 24 channel zone mixer, what we have today, or go for a free config and actually have your catalog with your DSP blocks and build your own DSP, pretty much as you know it from the N8000 netmix.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Christian. If you guys do have further questions and we didn't get to it, we'll feel free to type it in the chat. Christian and I will follow up, or you can obviously reach out to your local sales manager if you do have further questions. So thanks a lot, Christian. And just as a wrap up here, just so you guys are aware, you probably are, there are a couple more Power Communications webinars still available today. There's an Odin redundancy one here at 1 p.m. Central Time for those who are interested in some of the RTS stuff. And then we do have an Evolve session here at 3 p.m. And then, of course, we've already gone through several sessions already. Some of you may have attended. We have recorded most of those, so those will be up online in the near future. So stay tuned for those. And feel free to follow us on social. Certainly, we've been doing a lot of things online and have been a lot more active, I think, in the virtual realm as of late. So we've been doing a lot of product launches, webinars like this, and announcements through our social media channels. So feel free to follow us there for updates. And thank you all for joining. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again, Christian, for joining us.
Yep. Thank you very much. Have a good one. See you soon. Bye-bye.